I'm sorry, those people who don't know me, they wonder maybe when he's going to start. But it's so stupid to start with meditation. Then you think you need to do something, or something special needs to happen. What I would like to explore until Christmas, every second week, is some aspects of meditation practice which seems to be helpful in the process of healing, growing up and waking up. And since these meetings happen within the Buddhist framework, of course also the healing and growing up is in the service of waking up. Not only waking up for yourself, because your life is difficult, but waking up for the benefit of all. So if you are here because you want to learn to meditate because of some inner difficulties you have, anxiety, or you're looking for different ways to relate to your feelings, that's great, but that's not what my intention is. So I'm here in the service of collective awakening. And what is not fitting into that direction is really not interested. I'm not interested in. "24/7. And there seems to be a bit of a correlation between waking up and some stuff we can do. Time-tested correlations. Not sure, but we also need to do something wholesome with our time. So it's better to fill it with some activities which might be helpful in waking up. And waking up has different meanings in different traditions, also within the Buddhist schools. But maybe something like waking up to love. And here I mean love as the mystery, not love in the sense of some definition, but love, the mystery, waking up to love. Waking up to the love you are already. Waking up to the love which also shows in this moment. So not experiencing that this moment is love is samsara. And experiencing this moment as love is heaven. And one of the ingredients which seems to be helpful, actually all the ingredients can be also huge obstacles. All the Buddhist practices can be huge obstacles if you take them serious. All the Buddhist practices are placebos for illusionary people having illusionary problems. So it's quite difficult to practice in a way that is creating more space, more love. A lot of our spiritual practices becomes just another thing which we struggle with, or which facilitates self-righteousness and feeling better than others. There's even something like fundamentalistic Buddhists. I'm not sure what they are fundamentalistic about, because it's all placebos, but our mind can make everything into something real, something which really exists. So I hope I can be enough provocative to scare the fundamentalists away. I'm quite good at that. So one of the ingredients which show a bit of a correlation with the process of awakening is what is called stabilizing meditation or placement meditation. And so tonight I want to talk a bit about stable awareness or focused awareness and flexible awareness and open awareness as three approaches to stabilize the mind. It's good to know from the beginning that focused awareness, or traditionally called shamatha practice, in itself is pretty useless. It's not going to do a lot in terms of awakening. But a mind which is more stable, meaning that you are able to pay attention to what is important to you and you are able to stay engaged with it. So you are able to pay attention to what you want to pay attention to what is really important to you, and you are able to stay engaged with that which is important to you, particularly knowing that you're going to die soon. And that seems to be a good idea. No matter what your practice is, no matter what kind of inner life you do, it makes sense to understand and to experience that if you stay engaged with what you're doing, you stay engaged with what is important for you, that has some effect. That the practices you do, be it yoga, be it therapy, be it any spiritual practice, that the practice might really do the healing work or the growing up work or the waking up work you're intending to do. I'm not talking about concentration here. Unfortunately, in some meditation instructions you would hear something like concentration practice. It's not concentration. Concentration sucks on the spiritual path. It drains you. It becomes effort. It becomes struggle. So it's good to, I mean, concentration is something which might be useful in some places, but not in meditation. I'm talking about something else. And then, what is important, one of the ingredients to support this capacity to stay engaged with what is important for you is your intention. Why would you want to do that? What is your intention? What is the reason for you to be here? To be here tonight, but also to be here in general. And some people have a very modest intention, like wanting to have a good relationship or being healthy or feeling good. I mean, this is such a modest intention, to feel good. It's not bad, but it's really exaggerated in spiritual practice. Feeling good, because feeling good will come and go. It's not reliable. What we're exploring here is much more radical. It doesn't matter if you feel good or bad. You can always wake up. So if you are in your own journey still in this place where you feel that spiritual practice, or that you do practices, yoga or something else, to feel good, that's great. I will try everything which is in my trick box to broaden that a little. From the Buddhist point of view, you have not even started spiritual practice. You have not even entered the spiritual path when you do practices to feel better, to feel good. That's what everyone does, trying to feel better. So now I start to talk. So let's take 15 minutes or so to quietly sit. So what you're not supposed to do here is to meditate. So if you are a meditator, that's fine. It's a good hobby. But see if you can send him home, or you send her home, and so I will give you some guidance or some inspiration throughout the sitting, but it's actually not important what I say. It's not like things you need to do. More reminders, more as reminders that you already have everything you need to be complete, to be whole, to be at home in this moment. You don't need to meditate to get there. You are already that, what you would want to seek through meditation. You are already that. So make yourself comfortable if you have the tendency to kind of go into the meditation posture in the sense of, very concerned about how it looks like. Then, just relax. And then if you like, you can close your eyes if that helps you to connect with your inner life and your body. And then see what happens when you start to make contact. Start to meet yourself as a friend. And as part of that little journey, you start to notice that you have a body. So there's a sense of sliding or dropping with your awareness into your body, kind of away from the head. Even down into your feet and legs, belly, hands. And if it helps you, you can slide a bit on the in-breath. On each in-breath, you slide or drop into the body. And of course there are thoughts and they will continue to arise, but they become less important. There's nothing you need to think about right now. And there's nothing to do. And then in the out-breath there is a bit of a quality of giving space or letting go. Maybe you can soften some of the tension, some of the struggle, some of the self-improvement projects. The belly softening and then the shoulders. Then when you notice that you get entangled or hooked by the stream of thinking, that's fine, it's not a problem, but the invitation here is then to unhook from the thinking and drop back into your hands, into your belly, into the flow of the breath, into the sounds, into my voice. Then even if there's some tiredness, or you are a bit agitated or bored or whatever, possibly you can also appreciate the stillness or the space which arises when we sit quietly together, or a space between us, a silence between us, a stillness. As if you are being meditated by the field of awareness. Sometimes you notice that you want to get something, or you want to get rid of something. See if you can soften that, as if you're opening a fist, relaxing the grasping. And allowing this moment to be what it is, allowing yourself. And then you return when you get carried away. Not because you should, not because it's what I say, because you deserve it. You deserve love. And those of you who have some connection with the Buddha or the Tibetan tradition, the Dalai Lama, Lama Zopa, let's call upon their presence and let their love infuse the space of stillness which is surrounding you from all sides, also in the back. As if you're sitting in a sea of light or an ocean of love. Your whole body, from the toes to the top of your head. Particularly there where it's dark, where it's stuck, where you're hard with yourself. Just rest. Find a place of rest in the midst of your experience. Returning, softening, and opening. sounds, feelings, thoughts and sensations, they just come and go. It's like a river flowing, and you step out of the river. Staying intimate with it, but not identifying. As if you are the sky. As if your heart is a sky. Stay here. Not knowing where here is. Yes, this too. Listen with your heart, with your body. And then there's maybe some struggle or some discomfort. Softening, opening, letting it be. just being. And that is happening by itself. Beingness is happening. You don't need to add to it. You don't need to take away. Actually, you can't. It's happening by itself, this moment. It is what it is. Wanting it to be different is madness. Listen. Can you switch on the light? Before the break, I will talk a bit about stable awareness or focused awareness, and then we have a little break, and then I will lead a meditation again, and then there will be time for questions. One thing which is helpful for right from the beginning is to know that you can't cultivate focused awareness through control. You need to be a bit more sophisticated. It's very frustrating to try to control your mind, try to control your experience, because it's not possible. Why? Because there's nobody in control. Except the one you make up. But he has no control at all. I mean, if there would be someone who would have that kind of control, like a control center, then you could just give an order, you know, anxiety, shut up, happiness, come forth. And some people try to do that for many years, you know, controlling through concentration. Shut up. You disturb me with my loving kindness meditation. So, but there's a few things we can kind of throw into the mix, which are supportive, to support the network, the processes, which could be called your mind, to kind of move into a wholesome direction. And one of them is intention. So intention is in the Buddhist, a lot of Buddhist teachings, they are actually about first intellectually to cultivate an intention, a wholesome intention, to have a wholesome vision for your life. It's called taking refuge. Also, taking refuge means going into a safe direction. So in the Buddhist framework, that would be also starting to, first intellectually and then experientially, to start to understand that liberation is possible. So to understand the causes for being stuck, the causes for feeling imprisoned in unwholesome patterns. How is that happening, and why, and how are we doing that? And then to start to understand that these patterns are illusionary, that there is actually no prison, and there is no prisoner, and that the door is always open. So even if you understand that on an intellectual level, then you have enough, and then your intention becomes strong enough to do that which is wholesome, or which is in service, or which is aligned with the process of awakening. The good thing in the Buddhist teachings is that you can actually, to quite a high, to a high degree, you can actually intellectually understand this process. So it's not like that a Lama needs to come and say, "Hey, awakening is possible, and this is what you need to do." That's not good enough for most of us. But if our rational mind, the rational zone, understands this process, then it's much more likely that we take it serious. So that's why study is important within the Buddhist framework. One important ingredient here is to take death serious, to take death, your own death, as one of your most important allies. That really helps sometimes to set priorities straight. So one of the most important contemplation within the Buddhist training is the death meditation, contemplating death. Of course, that what you really are was never born and will never die. But that what you think you are, that's going to die. And that what you think you are is the obstacle which prevents you to experience who you really are or what you really are. And we can waste not only this life, but from the Buddhist point of view, millions of lives having really stupid priorities. So let's assume you have that intention to use this life to wake up, to heal, to grow up, to bring forth your potential, to make a difference, to be part of the solution. And you kind of start to align your life with this. Then you will figure out at one point in the Buddhist framework that it is really good to work on focused awareness. It's just one thing, but it's important. So if control is not working, and some of you might try for a few years, could be. I mean, sometimes we need to try things for a few years, and it's not a waste of time, because sometimes you need to do something for a long time to figure out that you don't need to do it. That could be even a description of the spiritual path. We do this long journey to find out at one point that we don't need to do it, that we can just go home. Yeah. But of course then the home is really a different place after all this journeying around. So there's always so much to say. Now I have 10 minutes. But still, very quickly, maybe I do like 15 minutes and then we have the break. So, for stable attention, you need an object. There's also objectless shamatha. Yeah. But let's now stay with shamatha with object. Yeah. So that's the most common way in the Buddhist tradition how to strengthen your capacity to stay engaged with what you want to be engaged with. So let's imagine this is my mind, which in a way it's true, but like let's imagine this is my mind. And so you represent different processes happening in my experience. And there's always in each moment, there's many processes happening at the same time. Most of it is subconscious, and some of the processes, they come into the conscious mind, so we become aware of them. So that's thoughts, feelings, sensations, sounds, so the whole thing. So you represent all of that. Let's say you are anxiety, yeah? Maybe a particular anxiety, for example, the anxiety around an unpaid bill. And sometimes you are in the conscious mind, but if you are not in the conscious mind, then you're in the subconscious mind. Yeah. So that means he sucks energy. So that's why healing is so important. But that's another thing. So, and then there is, let's say, you are the pain in my right knee. So like a physical process. Some discomfort in my right knee. So, and then there's many other things. And then there's my meditation object. Can I use you? Yeah? Okay. So, the meditation object can be anything. It can be an object of the five senses, but it can be also a mental image. It can be also an inner dialogue. It can be something pleasant, it can be something unpleasant. Yeah, it doesn't. So anything can be the meditation object. Quite often in the Buddhist teachings, the breath is used in the beginning because it's always there, and there's some health benefits also in doing, non-controlling breathing meditation. So there's different ways to choose the object. There's also the method of kind of just open and working with what presents itself. But most of the time people kind of choose a meditation object. So, and you need to choose wisely. It's be creative. Because the breath is, for some people, often not the best object, particularly when it's connected with anxiety or trauma. Then, by meditating on the breath, you kind of start to meditate on on anxiety. Yeah? So it's a sad story that many people, for many years they try to do breathing meditation, and it's not wholesome for them. And they just need this little instruction that you can do shamatha practice with any kind of object. And of course, you would choose something which you like, something you're interested in, something you like to be engaged with. This is actually one of the ingredients which make your mind staying in contact with the object. So if you like touch, use touch as the object. Use the cat on your lap. If you like music, if you are a visual person, use a visual object. If you are a physical person, use movement. So the good news, of course, is that means shamatha practice is not something you can only practice within the frame of the event of a meditation session, but it's possible everywhere, at any time, whatever you do and in whatever position your body is. The meditation posture is really exaggerated. Some people even think this is meditation. It has nothing to do with it. For many people, this is actually just an obstacle, because they feel it's about sitting in the right way. So now I have chosen let's say the breath. Yeah? So one of the ingredients which help my mind to keep engaged with the breath is to be really curious about the breath, to be fascinated by the breath, to love the breath, to be in awe of the breath. So if you have a kind of breathing meditation which you have done for 2 years, you got some instructions and you do the same thing every day, forget it. It's not going to go deep. Stay engaged, make your mind curious, listen to different instructions. I mean, there's millions of ways to engage with the breath. It's a whole territory, it's a landscape. You can explore the breath for the rest of your life and you will not have seen the whole thing. Make your mind interested in the breath. I'm breathing, I'm alive. Gratefulness, appreciation, curiosity, freshness. As if it's something you meet for the first time. Be a childlike about it. In the Zen tradition they call it the beginner's mind. Like each breath is as if you are breathing for the first time. And then you follow some instructions which makes you curious again. For example, notice the gap between the in and out breath. So that would be one of these instructions. If you throw it into the mix, your mind then, the gap between the in and out breath. What is that? I have not looked at that. I'm getting real. Is there a gap? And when does the out breath really stop? And how does the in breath come in then? So can you see how your mind then gets like, wow, yeah. So your mind continues to dance with the breath. And there's no effort in it. It's not like, breath. No, it's just like a child, poking into the earth with a stick for 2 hours. Yeah. Because it's fascinated, it's life, it's like there's joy in it. So intention combined with that kind of curiosity, with that kind of wonder, that's a big, then shamatha becomes a completely different game than concentration meditation. So now, you're my breath. So I have intention, I have understood why I do it. I do it aligned with my longing or my yearning for awakening. So it's really important for me, the most important in life. I mean, the most important. Because it's aligned with my longing for yearning for awakening. So, and I've understood how there's a correlation. So I'm really into it. So now, so this is my mind. So what happens is my awareness. So focused awareness is I bring you into my foreground, into the foreground of my awareness. So I do this now with my visual consciousness, which is fine. This is also a shamatha practice. Yeah? So I stay engaged with you. It's like a dance. I choose you as my dance partner from all the other processes. And I have my reasons to do that I dance with you. So I stay engaged, so the dance starts. So when the dance starts, that does not mean that all the other things disappear. This is called peripheral awareness. So like, I'm dancing with you, but I'm also, this is like the border of my visual field right now. So I still have a kind of a bit, peripheral awareness can't do vipassana practice, like insight meditation. I can't engage with him in the same way I engage with you. But there is some awareness here. This is very important because some people think like if some of you, for example, represent thoughts, memories, some people think all this has to quieten down. It shouldn't be there. There shouldn't be thoughts. There shouldn't be sounds. So they try to meditate like this. Yeah. And this is not helpful at all. 2 reasons for that. One reason is, when you do like this, at one point, your mind gets this signal, oh, nothing much is happening. I think it's time for dullness. And then falling asleep. So you actually want to stay awake. I mean, now awake in the sense of having some alertness, having some aliveness, some conscious energy there. The other reason is and let's say it's like 40-60, yeah? 40% resting lightly on the object or dancing. It's like dancing. I mean, when you dance with your partner, of course, you stay in contact, engage with the partner, but you're also aware of the music and the other people dancing, otherwise you bump into them. So 40-60, let's say like that, or 20-80. Yeah. So, of course, one of the skills I develop, and that I would develop this skill also when I would dance with you, I have then these moments when I forget the object. It's called forgetting the object. So it's like suddenly you step on the feet of your partner because you haven't been present anymore. You have been thinking about other people. Yeah, there was a bit of this. Yeah. So, and with time, you get better at that, noticing, hey, I'm not anymore engaged with what is important for me. I'm engaged with something else. And then your curiosity brings you back. Or your sense, no, it's important. I want to dance with her. I want to give her my presence. Not here. And then your mind comes back. And then slowly, you somehow your mind figures out to learn to notice when you lose that which is important to you, and it's easier for you to come back. So what is helpful instruction is the moment you realize that you forgot the object, to see that at a success. Yeah, so like suddenly I noticed, wow, the unpaid bill. Yeah, so suddenly I notice the unpaid bill is my dancing partner. So now beginners at that moment get very frustrated and angry. And that's not a good strategy. So in the moment when I notice, hey, who are you? Yeah. I wanted to dance with someone else, then you see that as a success, even if it happens only once in 15 minutes. So, and then you, without hurry, yeah, and without like trying to force or being violent, you just go back to your dancing partner because she is important to you. And if you are able to dance with your dancing partner for the duration of the whole session, and this is this is realistic. People really, quite quickly you can get there to that level of focused awareness. In the Tibetan tradition, this is described in 9 stages. And each stage has its challenges and stuff you can throw into the mix. If you have reached that stage, if you are able to stay with your dancing partner throughout the session, you have reached the 4th stage. So that's really realistic. Usually people in a retreat, for example, like a week retreat, so they get there to that capacity. Depending on the amount of the attention disorder, the degree of attention disorder. But it's something, it's realistic. So another reason for seeing the cultivation of focused awareness not like this, but actually also as the training of peripheral awareness is, let's say, the pain in the knee. So what happens is, I dance with you, and the pain of the knee starts to call me. Hey, I'm here. I need your attention. I have something to say. It's important. Yeah? So if you are a fundamentalistic breathing meditator, then you will feel this is an obstacle. You will feel that paying attention to that would be a sign that you don't meditate anymore. And a war starts. So there's the process which calls for your attention, and here's your no, this is my object. This is my object. This is an obstacle. I don't want this. And by the way, I don't like it because it's unpleasant. I don't want to feel it. And this is like each inner conflict, each conflict within your mind drains energy. It sucks vitality out of you, which is then not there for good stuff. Yeah, so for the meditation, for other things. Yeah, so it's like, yeah. So instead of doing that, quite often a wise choice is to change the meditation object. To kind of say, okay, so I had the intention to dance with you, but actually it's more wholesome now to pay attention to the pain in my right knee, which is an equal valid and sacred and holy meditation object than the breath. And you have this effect of that loving attention is one of the best medicine you can ever take. So I let go of the breath, maybe not completely. So she goes a bit into peripheral awareness. I have a bit in the meditation, like not as the main focus, but it's still there. And then I start to pay attention to the pain in my right knee. I breathe into it. I explore it. I am with it. I make it my meditation object. And then bring vipassana aspects, which I will talk about in another evening, into it. So in that way, shamatha practice can be like a healing tool to heal inner conflict. So this can be physical discomfort, that can be emotional discomfort. Like let's say you are in a period of grief, yeah? Which happens to all of us because we love. So love and grief are twins, they come as a package. So like a fundamentalistic breathing meditation meditator would think of everything else as an obstacle, so also the grief. Yeah. Maybe you would even try to kind of ride on the breathing meditation out of the breath, out of the grief, like kind of instead of Carlsberg, you use breathing meditation. It's called spiritual bypassing. Yeah. So, now I lost it. Shit. Sometimes when these things are too light in your mind, then they can just pop. You can't find them anymore because they never existed in the first place. So yeah, grief. So in order for communication, I need to make the things more real as they are. Yeah. Yeah, otherwise it's not possible grief. So, of course, your feelings need to be felt. They are not dangerous. It's natural. It's unavoidable, and nothing heals by itself. Everything you want to heal within you need to touch it. You need to embrace it. You need to be with it. So then your shamatha practice becomes a practice of giving space to that which is necessary. So you, for example, you would make the somatic aspect of grief the meditation object. So where's the grief in your body? Where does it move? What kind of energy is the grief? So you make that the meditation object. And in that way, you heal a process within you, which, if you suppress it, leads into depression, leads into loss of vitality. So, having some kind of awareness of what is happening in peripheral awareness is very important and helpful. And then, of course, some of the inner conflicts you have, one of the best ways to address them is psychotherapy. I've known quite some long-term meditators who kind of got stuck. And then they, even after 20, 30 years of meditation, some of them, they realized, shit, this I can't address. I need to bring it out. I need to go into dialogue. And then suddenly, that conflict, that childhood trauma also got somewhat resolved. And they made a real big step in their meditation practice through that. Okay, so let's have a break.